Let's see, quiero un coco caliente.
Un choco caliente.
Sí,
Ok. Leche,
¿tienes leche de avena o leche de almendra?
almendras tengo, pero es un costo adicional. ¿Está bien?
No, no hay problema. Sí, leche de almendra.
Ok, un choco
Sí,
caliente con milk almendras.
sí, sí.
¿Yes?
Listo.
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 ¿Perfecto?
Sí,
Listo.
perfecto. Gracias. I've been living in Lima, Peru for almost 2 months, and I must say coming here was a great decision. Being able to trade and travel has truly changed my life, and it's allowing me the freedom to go where I want, when I want. I began trading options a little over a year ago, and learning that skill was the best thing that has ever happened to me. Sure, I do miss my family, but that's one of the cons of traveling. But the experiences that I'm gaining are truly priceless. Hello, everyone. We're coming to you live from Lima, Peru, and I would like to welcome you to the very first episode of Trade and Travel Tuesdays, where every Tuesday I'm going to be bringing you a brand new video about my favorite stock picks for the week and beyond. So, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced trader, stick around because I've got some great stuff in store for you. And also, if you're interested in learning how to trade options, you want to get started, I've got an awesome course on the way, and it will help you do just that. So stay tuned. Stay tuned about that. So please, if you enjoy this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and help out the channel. I would definitely appreciate that. All right, so let's dive in. Let's see what we have here. Now, I just want to say this is not investment advice. These are my opinions off of what I see. So I encourage everyone, always do your own research. And if you need to consult an investment professional, please do so. So let's jump right into this. Now, we got our guy here, Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla. All right, so let's look at the chart for Tesla, though. That's what's interesting. Now, what we have here is a trend line, a declining trend line. Okay, so this goes back to July 19th of this year. So right here, we had a touch to the trend line. The first touch here, September, we had the second touch, third touch here in October, fourth touch here in November. So now here we actually broke the trend line. So we broke the trend line, and now what I'm waiting for is a retest of that trend line. So what happens is a lot of times a stock will break through a trend line, but it'll come back down to retest the trend line and then head back to the upside. That's what I'm looking for in this situation. Now, anything can happen. It could continue to go down, but we want to keep an eye on it now just to see what's going to happen. So now the price that I like for re-entry, if we look here in the corner, 252.54 was the last price of Tesla. Now, for me to get in for calls, calls is when we want the stock to go up. Puts is when we want the stock to go down. We make money in both directions. I would like to take calls here if we get a retest at, I would say, in the 240-ish zone. So right here we got 244. I would say I'm looking to get back into Tesla anywhere between 240 and 245. But again, this is the daily chart as well. So each candle you see here represents one day. So now that retest, let's move this arrow. The retest could come here on this day, or it could come here, or we don't know when. Now, if the retest comes on this day, which would be January 19th, that means that Tesla would be at 235. So regardless of the price, we want it to touch that trend line before we enter. That's what we want. So I'll be looking at Tesla and keeping an eye on it. All right, but again, that 240-ish zone is what I'm thinking is going to happen, but we'll see. But we want to see if this trend line is going to be retested. And if so, I'm in. I'm in. All right, so let's jump to the next stock here. We are taking a look at Texas Instruments. This is interesting as well. So now on this chart, if we zoom out, we can see resistance. Let's pull this down a little bit. Okay. Now, up here, we call this resistance and we call this support. Okay, because support is when you have a floor and resistance is a ceiling. So we had a rejection off this line, which is why it is resistance. Another rejection here, and here we had a rejection to the downside. So this happened 3 times. Okay, this was back in February of this year, this was back in April, and this was July. So that's resistance, and this has been support. We see 2 touches here of support and a big push up. So at this point, what has happened, let's zoom in and take a closer look. We broke through that support, and now what I'm looking for, just like Tesla, is a retest of this line here and a push back to the upside. And this line here is at 185.51. So I will be looking for a ride back up from 161.61 up to 185.51. But I need to see a retest of this line first before I jump in for calls for a ride to the upside. So Texas Instruments is on my radar, and I'm keeping an eye on you, Texas Instruments. I'm keeping an eye on you. So that's another stock that I'm looking at for a possible entry for calls, but we want the retest. Next stock, let's go to Honeywell. Honeywell, we see a similar case. Okay, now here, 5 touches, and this needs to be corrected because that should be a 4, and that should not be that either. Okay. Okay, so now we have 4 touches here on Honeywell, and this goes back November 2022. First touch, second touch, third touch, fourth touch, fifth touch. And here, let's zoom in. This is where we are now. We broke through the trend line, and now we want to look for a re-entry for calls to the upside, but we want to see this touch. Now, on this one here, if you look closely, it broke through and it did touch the trend line. So the retest may have already happened, but it could come back down to touch it again, maybe. But as we see here, the price is 205.64. That was the last price of Honeywell, and this trend line is in the neighborhood between 200 and 205. So that zone, that 200 and 205 zone, is where I would be looking to take calls for Honeywell. All right, so as close to $200 as possible, that's where I would really like to enter Honeywell for those calls. And it would be, I would go long. I would definitely go long on that. And we have another stock here on our list. So we had Honeywell, Tesla, Texas Instruments, all for a retest and then a possible ride to the upside. All right. So the next stock on our list is Northrop Grumman. And let's take a look at this chart. Now, we had some resistance here, and we had some support here. And resistance, the ceiling, bounced down to the floor, support down here. And then we broke up through resistance, and now this resistance became support. Why? Because look what happened. It came down, and now this is the floor. Bounced up, and now we have come back down again. So at this point, I'm watching this company because we could have a ride back to the upside. Now this thing could go back down to this and make this down here, the floor, make it support again. but I'm going to keep an eye on it because we may be headed back to the upside on this company. All right, so this is possible. Let's zoom in a bit here, and we could be going to the upside, but then we had a lower high as well. See this line I'm drawing? This never reached this same level, so you want to be careful of that. Be very careful of that, but we could be headed back up. If we do, I'm not expecting a huge push to the upside, but let's keep an eye on it. Next on our list is what do we have here? What do we have? Oh, we have your favorite place to shop. Well, maybe not, but Walmart. Everyone loves to go to Walmart, right? Okay, let's check out Walmart here. So, zoom out. Now, look here. This was once resistance, a rejection, 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 and we had to push through, and this resistance level became support. So here would be support, 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 all support. Okay, now let's fast forward. It went up, came back down, still showing support. Big bounce to the upside. Now look at where we are today. We broke through that support level, but it came back up, and now we're above it. So at this point for Walmart, it closed at 156.65. I'm looking for this to push to the upside because it seems like it's showing some strength here. It's staying above this support level, and I feel like we could have a good chance to push to the upside. So keep an eye on Walmart. Keep an eye on Walmart for a possible push to the upside. Don't really think we're gonna go down here. I just don't really see it, but we wanna stay vigilant and watch. But I like Walmart for a possible push to the upside. And then also we had a breakthrough. It touched the trend line here. It did touch, and now seems to be wanting to head up. So we want to get in this line. This line is at 253.70. We want to get as close to that as possible to enter for calls, and we want to go long. All right, so anywhere between 153 and where we are now, 156, I feel is a good entry for long calls. Okay, next up, who do we have? We have NVIDIA. Okay, let's type that in here. NVIDIA. Now this one, let's take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is funny. Okay, check this chart out. Check it out, everybody. We have strong support on NVIDIA at the $400 level. As we can see over here, 402. So we had support, support. It almost touched here, but didn't quite touch. And we had support here. If we look at the top, we had resistance here at 503.61. Okay, so, and this is where we are now. We're here. So we had a touch here, came down a little bit, but I would like to go with puts here actually. So, you know, we make money on the way up or down. And I would like to see another touch to this line here for a possible ride to the downside. If it breaks this line here with a nice tall green candle, we want to wait for a retest and we want to ride to the upside on that. But if it starts to trend down, we want to ride the puts to the downside and make money, just like what happened here. It touched, or pretty much it touched, and then it rolled down big time. So we want to keep an eye on that because right now it's very close to this level and it's going to have a reaction, but we just don't know in which direction just yet. However, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with NVIDIA. So I'm looking for puts. I think we come at least down to 455, 454. at least. But hey, those are the picks I have for this week and beyond. Again, next Tuesday we'll have some more for you. And thanks for tuning in. Ciao.